Spartanburg.
Okay. South Carolina?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I've been to Raleigh several times and just kind of been in there. My middle daughter did Carolina Ballet one summer, so we've been out there a little
Okay.
bit. Yeah.
Great. So how long have you lived in Indiana?
I measure my life in seasons because my husband's a football coach.
Oh,
So
gotcha. I understand that.
13 years. Yes, because we moved here and Jessie started kindergarten. She's a freshman in college, so 13 years. Yeah.
Wow. So how
Yeah.
many kids you got?
3.
3 kids.
Yes.
And their ages? What are their ages?
Well, my oldest one has a birthday this month, but please do not tell her that I can't quite remember if she's 23 or 24. So she's either 23 or 24. The middle one, I think she's 23 because the middle one is 21 and the youngest one is 18.
Okay.
So don't tell Jenna that I can never remember how old she is.
Sure won't. So you did the stair steps. That's what we have 4. And we have 17, 15, 13. But then we have a surprise 5-year-old, so 6-year-old now. Yeah,
that's what I was for my parents. I was like, surprise.
Yeah. But they're the best. I'm telling you, she's been awesome.
I know. See, you think you're done, and then you get this surprise. You're like, oh, see, this is what we needed all along.
Yeah. So I have a senior in high school and a kindergartner, so both ends of the spectrum. But it's been
great. Fun. That's so fun.
So tell me more of your story, like what brought you to where you are today with fitness and you with your family and, things like that.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think a lot of people kind of grow up with, not now in 2019, but certainly maybe my age or, older, you kind of grow up and you go to school and this is your thing that you do. And I think now, and certainly I see it with my daughters, but a lot of people go to school for nothing that they end up ever doing in their life, and I struggled for a long time. Struggle might be too strong of a word, but growing up, I thought I wanted to be a lawyer and I wanted to drive a gold Corvette. I don't know where those two came from because I had none of that in my life growing up. I grew up in a teeny tiny little Midwestern town with literally a cornfield in my backyard. And my school that I went to was kindergarten through 8th grade, one school block and a half away from my house. So I don't know where I came up a lawyer and drive a gold Corvette. And then went to college and kind of dabbled, maybe I'll be a fashion merchandising major or whatever. And then it just became apparent to me at the end of my sophomore year. I'm like, I really am supposed to be a teacher. The people that had been the most influential, that I had felt the most connection with growing up were the teachers in my life. So I became a high school English teacher and met my husband, got married, had kids. And because my husband is a college football coach, that tends to be a very transient job. And we had done a lot of moves here and there, here and there. And one of our moves was to Wisconsin, where we joined a YMCA. I knew no one in the town, kind of bought the house unseen, had a brand new baby, a preschooler, a kindergartner. My father had just passed away from cancer. Our dog had died. My husband had this new job. There was a lot going on, and we joined the YMCA. And at this point, because I had stopped teaching high school when the third baby came along and we were in this brand new town and we joined the Y, I thought, I'm going to get up. I love fitness. I've always been a person who couldn't sit still, but I had never really done like organized classes. I'd never really been in a place that I could do that. And so when we joined the Y, I said, I'm just going to get up and I'm just going to get to that 9:30 class, whatever it is. I'm going to drop my 2 off at school, bring my baby with me. Life feels very chaotic right now. I'm just going to go to the Y. I'm going to do that 9:30 class. And I think everything else the rest of the day will probably sort itself out.
Yeah.
And it kind of did. And that's where I fell in love with fitness and fell in love with this idea of maybe doing more with fitness. That's the place where the group exercise director came to me and said, I've seen you in class. I think you should be teaching. And she planted that seed. And so often for so many of us, it's someone else seeing the potential in us before we have the idea or see the potential ourselves. And so I started pursuing this, just really a part-time, paid for our Y membership, let my girls get their classes for free. And it didn't take very long before I woke up one morning and thought, oh, this fitness thing, that's what I was supposed to be doing all this time. So I always say I kind of fell into it, but it's still teaching. It's just teaching in much more comfortable clothes.
Right.
And I don't have to grade papers, and yeah, it's just teaching in a different kind of classroom, and that experience kind of taught me just to say yes and figure it out along the way.
I've heard that a lot lately, that a lot of times we have to jump and then
Mm-hmm.
figure it out. That's what faith is, is
Mm-hmm.
taking that step, and then God will show you the rest of the
Mm-hmm.
path or whatever. So
Mm-hmm.
that's exactly right. So what exactly do you do like with fitness right now? What's your job? What do you do?
Fitness is my job.
Yeah.
It has a couple kind of iterations. I do teach live group exercise classes.
Uh-huh.
So I'm at the Y here in Indiana, and you can go to the Y and take my classes. I have also been, for a long portion of time, was a master trainer. So
Okay.
I trained instructors to teach in gym settings or studio settings or whatever. So they would come to me, I would train them to teach certain formats. Now I still teach live classes. I no longer do master training, and I focus primarily on my online virtual fitness boot camps, really connecting people with these powerful solutions that work in a way that works for them in their life. I think for the most part, people have this mindset that fitness and health can be so hard, and they think that it can be so hard, and they have to go to a gym for hours, or they have to have all the equipment, or they have to completely overhaul their life. And I'm really on a mission to help people understand it doesn't have to be hard. If you feel like it's a vast wilderness, I have the map, and I can show you I can show you how to navigate it. And you don't have to go to a gym for hours and hours. You don't have to go to a gym if you don't want to, or you can if you want to, or you could have all the tools in your life. And I just want people to understand that health and fitness isn't hard, shouldn't feel hard. It should feel like something that on every level enhances your life, makes you better as a human, which then by default makes you better as a spouse, as a parent, as a coworker, as a colleague, as a friend, as a neighbor, whatever, that it just makes you better in all ways. And it shouldn't feel like something that you have to do. It should feel like something that you get to do. And we just have to do some exploration into finding the tools that fit into your life where you are right now.
Right. I know for me, when I was a young mom, I've always been active too. I played sports in high school, but it can be challenging because your seasons change and things change. And so your routine changes. And so I know, as a young mom, it was really challenging for me to find the time. And, I was blessed to have a husband who would be willing to, who wasn't working all the time, who'd be willing to stay home. But there are moms out there who aren't. So what's a suggestion for, a young mom that has those 3 kids like you did? You mentioned going to the Y and dropping them off. Or are there any other suggestions that you might have for a young mom that could stay fit and get back into shape after? Because I know, pregnancy body, no fun, and trying to get those pounds back off without feeling the pressure and overwhelm of, oh my gosh, there's so much weight to lose, or, what are some of your tips on that?
First of all, give yourself grace.
Yes.
That's number one. Let's give yourself grace. Secondly, stop worrying about the number on the scale and start focusing on how you feel.
Right.
Third, there's a myriad of ways to get there. There are a myriad of ways to get there. It might take you a little bit longer because before kids, maybe you could go out and run 5 miles, and now maybe you can't. Okay, cool. That's the season of life you're in. So there's no point in fighting that. That is wasted energy in fighting. Well, I used to be able to do this. And why? No, that's just a waste of energy. We don't have time for that. So we got to go, okay, here's my season. What can I do right now? Fourth, have a conversation with your spouse that this is a 2-parent situation. We both got ourselves into this child situation. And you're not babysitting when mom goes out for a workout or whatever. That's called parenting. That's called having a marriage. So there's no like, oh, honey, can you please stay home? No, it's, I need to go get my workout in so I can take better care of this family that we agreed together that we were having. So there's none of this patriarch stuff. We don't have time for that anymore in 2019.
No,
Sorry. You got to get past that. Don't be asking for permission. You're simply coordinating your schedules to work it out. You're not asking for permission. The only person you need permission from is yourself. Give it to yourself. Give yourself some grace and move on. Once you have done that and you've kind of taken a look at your calendar, your day, and said, okay, where can I fit this in? Because it's not probably going to be for an hour here or an hour there. It's going to be for 20 or 30 minutes. Now you find some digital options, some DVDs, there's so many options out there for 20 or 30 minutes. At the same time, you're accepting that where you are now is not going to be where you are 2 or 3 months from now. So maybe you can only get 20 or 30 minutes in right now. Well, that lasts 2 or 3 months. And now the baby naps a little bit longer and you have 40 minutes. Cool. So that's where we are now. And now they're in preschool all of a sudden and you have an hour, you could take class. Okay, cool. That's where we are now. And it's just this season. And I think women, for whatever reason, who know it, they know the flow of life, the ebb of life better than anyone, fight so hard against that sometimes, instead of just going, hey, okay, this is where I am. I'm going to do the best I can with what I have, where I am right now. And if I do that, that will model that for my family. And if I take care of me in some way every day, I'll take better care of everybody else that I'm here to take care of. And if I struggle against that or make it defensive or make it me against you or try to get in 6 hours of a workout, you're just setting yourself up for failure. So it's giving yourself grace. It's giving yourself permission. It's having conversations and making sure everyone's on the same page. And then it's looking at your day and scheduling it in, making it happen, and understanding that some days might be 20 minutes. Some days might be 40. Some days might be some squats and lunges while you're holding a colicky baby or whatever. And that's what happens on that day. It also means nutrition becomes very important too, because if you're putting good stuff in your body on the days when you maybe can't move as much as you'd like, you're still going to feel better. You're going to feel more in control. And I think for women, especially, we get pregnant and all of a sudden it's like something has taken over our body, which it has, a child, and we've lost all control of like how we feel and how we think and like what's going on. And then we have the baby and now we've really lost control of what's happening. And if we could just remember what we are in control of is how we move, what we put in our bodies, and what we put in our heads. So I get to control how I move, which means squats and lunges if I'm holding the baby, whatever. I control what I put in my mouth, what I put into my body. So if I put junk in my body, I'm going to feel like junk. I also control what I put in my head, which means maybe I'm listening to a really good book while I'm feeding the baby or whatever. So that I'm fueling my mind too and keeping my mindset positive.
That's good. Yeah.
And when we can do all those things, I think that all contributes to us just feeling more in control, especially at a time when it feels like everything else is out of control. Yes.
Right. I'm really big on, I drive around a lot for a job that I do. And I am constantly listening to audiobooks, to podcast. And I'm excited to even just go out on my job so I can listen to these things because you feel excited. And, it's very important. That whole mind aspect of it is so important. And because when you're down and out, and then exercise helps with that tremendously because it gives you the energy, but it just gets your endorphins, like all the stuff going. And then you just feel better all around. It makes your mind feel better. So, if we're in a depressed state, like get up and move, do something. And so it's so important. So
energy creates energy. So if you move and create your energy, you will create more energy. If you sit on the couch, you will have no energy to create.
No. And it just is like a black hole. Like you just kind of, it's a spiral downward, and it can be a spiral upward as well.
For sure.
So what do you mean when you say that showing up?
You hear my dog. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. No problem.
I know. It's the UPS guy. She's very agitated at the UPS guy. How dare he come in? Say hi. I know. There he goes. He's all done now. Go tell him about it. Tell him. So what do I mean?
Showing up is a superpower. So what does that mean? Just
I think that, that came from my dad. My dad was in the Navy for 40 years, both active duty and reserve. And then he was a civil engineer. And I just remember him sometimes doing activities, going places that maybe he didn't necessarily want to go. And that military training of showing up really would kick in. And sometimes when you just show up, opportunities present themselves that if you hadn't shown up, those doors would never have been open. And we can talk ourselves out of a lot of stuff, and women especially, a lot of emotion and a lot of drama. We tie a lot of emotion just to a lot of situations in our life. And if we can remove the emotion and the drama and simply do the action and just show up. So even with fitness, just show up to your fitness and do some squats, lunges, and push-ups. Just show up. And just the power of knowing that your showing up is in your control, I think is life changing, because there are, of course, there's lots of stuff in our lives that maybe we wish we didn't have to do or didn't have to go to or whatever. But the idea of showing up when it's inconvenient breeds such confidence and such self-discipline that it just leaks over into everything else. So you show up for your workouts, you show up for your good nutrition, you show up for conversations with your family, you show up for, and I don't mean to say that we show up and just say yes to everything and put everything on our plates, but the stuff that we choose to say yes to, we show up for that. And when we do that, those opportunities present themselves. I remember that I took a business trip a couple of years ago, and I really didn't want to go. I just really didn't. For whatever reason, I just wasn't feeling it. And I said to myself, you know what? This is an example to my team that, I earned this trip. And it's an example to my team that if you work hard, what you can earn as well. So me going on this trip kind of shows them what they can do as well. So I went, and just by being there, I got to speak kind of randomly on stage. I got to share some thoughts and some wisdom with other colleagues on stage because I was there. I got to have a private meeting with the CEO of my company because I was there. There were some opportunities that presented themselves that really kind of refilled my bucket and kept me inspired that would never have happened had I not showed up. And there's something about this day and age too in 2019 where it feels like our attention span is the length of a gnat, and people are, hopping from product to product, opportunity, whatever to ever. That person who just continues to show up and is so solid and so consistent, that is such a powerful trait. And I believe it leaks over into every aspect of your being if you let it.
Right. Absolutely. Faithfulness, that is such you don't see that a whole lot, like you said, in this day and age. And so it's so important. And I was reading a book, James Clear, it's about habits, like Atomic Habits. Have you read it? Yeah. Awesome. Yes. It's an awesome book. Just so like you said, showing up, even if you just go to the gym for 5 minutes, it's the power of creating that habit. And then when you create the habit, it becomes routine, and it's not such a fight. It's not necessarily going to the gym, but putting your shoes beside the door, getting your workout clothes out, because that's the hardest part, is the first part of it, And so, and that really spoke to me, things like, so yeah, showing up to life, showing up for your kids when things like that. So,
and not, because they deserve your best. Your family deserves your best. Yeah. You deserve your best. Yeah. And you not taking care of yourself, or you putting your dreams and goals aside, you just kind of shoving all of you down in the corner to take care of everybody else. That's not showing up for you, and that's not teaching your family that they should be doing that too. So you have to show up for you first and foremost, to help and inspire others to do the same.
Yeah, exactly. And I know coming from Christian circles, a lot of times people think, well, that's being selfish and all this stuff. But, it's like the airplane. You've got to put the mask on yourself first before you can help anybody else. You've got to spend that time in your prayer and meditation and quiet time. And, you've got to build yourself up. You got to spend your time in the physical. Otherwise, you're not going to be good for anybody. And so, and I know for me, like, I tend to feelings get in my way. Oh, I don't feel like, oh gosh, I'm just so tired.
That's a female thing. That's only female.
Well, I don't know, but I don't know. Well, it's something, and it can be, it's a pain, because I find myself living by my emotions and by, oh, I just don't feel like doing that today. I'm down. I woke up on the wrong side of the bed. And so I don't know another this is kind of a spur of the moment question, but I don't know if you would have any tips on fighting those emotions, or maybe not fighting them, but just overcoming that so that you can continue in the things that you need to do, your exercise, your, whatever it might be.
For sure. And that, first and foremost, what you're saying when you say you don't feel like it, whatever, what people are saying, and trust me when I say this is a female thing. Okay. Men don't say that. Not one time have I ever heard my husband say, I don't feel like going to practice. They do not attach emotion to that. It's not this is a female situation. I don't feel like doing this. I'm waiting for the motivation to come down.
Right.
No, because women are just by nature more emotional relationship creatures. It just is who we are. So what we have to do is put habits in place that remove the emotion. So I have a pre-workout drink that I make every morning that I drink. Kind of helps my focus and clarity before I go down to work out. That's the cue. So there's no emotion attached to it. I'm making my drink. I'm going downstairs to my basement and working out. There's no, I hope I feel like it. No, I made my drink. Yeah. I'm working out. So it's kind of like what James Clear spoke about in Atomic Habits with the habit stacking. I'm making my drink. I'm working out. And then I'm walking the dogs. It's like boom, boom, boom. I'm not thinking about if I feel like it. If you ask it, the same question could be asked, well, do you feel like doing laundry? Right. No, but yet we do it. Do you feel like unloading the dishwasher? No, but yet we do it. We just only attach those, I don't feel like it, to two things, working out and nutrition. We always don't feel like, but I don't ever feel like doing the laundry. And yet somehow the laundry gets done.
It has to be, right?
Right. So why isn't taking care of you as important as doing laundry? Why isn't taking care of you as important as unloading the dishwasher? You have to put in some habits that then eliminate the emotion. Just saying I don't feel like it. To me, I would say, I don't really care. I don't care if you feel like it. We're not looking for the feeling before, and we're really not looking for the feeling during. Right. I didn't really love the squat burpee situation that was happening during my workout today. What I loved was how I felt on the other side of it. Right. So that's what I'm focusing on. I'm putting a habit in place that removes emotion. So I make my drink, my pre-workout drink. I go down in my basement and press play. Mm-hmm. I don't worry about how I feel until the end of it. And then I see, that's what I was going for. Yeah. If I really focused on, do I feel like doing this burpee squat? Well, the answer would be no, but what I want to feel is strong and confident, and that's going to happen on the other side of it. So it's almost like I get to the other side of the workout almost without even, there's no thought involved. I've just made my drink, and now all of a sudden I'm done because I've taken the emotion out of it. I've installed a habit stack. It's a habit stack. Right. So just like what James Clear mentioned in that book, you want to get up and go for a run every morning. You put your shoes and your socks by your bed and maybe your Apple Watch right there to put on, whatever. So there's no more thinking about it. You get up, you put your shoes on. It's a habit stack. You walk out the door. Right.
The decision's already been made.
Already been made.
And I know a lot of times I think that's where I get caught up is like, I kind of almost leave it up to, it's not something that I've planned necessarily for. It's like, well, if I get up and I have enough time,
you'll never have time.
Then I'll do that. Right. Then I'll do it. Or then, always something else gets in the way. It's like, shoot, the dog did this. No, that's the decision. I've made it, and I'm going to stick to it no matter how I feel. And sometimes you just have to. I know, like in the scriptures, Paul has to. He says, "I beat my body and make it my slave," because our bodies want to do these other things and be lazy, and so we have to take control of ourselves. It's like almost we have two people on the inside of it. We have to say, no, body, no, I want this. I want to be healthy. I want to eat right. I want to do these things. And that's what we're going to do today, So.
And it is a decision. And I think when we start thinking of it that way, rather than feeling motivated or inspired, if we just think, well, no, it's just actually a decision. I'm not waiting for motivation or waiting for inspiration. I'm just making a decision. Not only does that take the emotion out of it, but it also reminds you that you have control. That's actually you being in control of your life. It's just, people always say, how do you have so much energy? Or why are you so motivated every day to work out? It's not that I'm so motivated. I've simply made the decision. So it's just like I make a decision to try to be the best parent that I can be, or try to
Right.
be the best spouse I can be. It's a decision. So then every day I'm lining up my activities to align with that decision that I've made. And then there's
Right.
no emotion or drama attached to it. It's just a decision. It's almost like a roadmap. I
Right.
decided to go to Indianapolis, so I'm going to drive this way. And I'm
Right.
not emotional about it. I'm just
Right.
driving
That's just the
driving the
way. Yeah.
route. Just the way
Exactly.
I'm going there. So I made a decision that I want to feel healthy and fit. So this is the route that I'm taking.
Right. Right. That's good. That's so good. So, I'm over 40, and being over
Me
40,
too.
things change, obviously.
Yeah.
So what are some things that I can do? Because, when you're 20, like I have my teenager running track, and she's um, losing all this, she's lost all this weight because she's running every day. I mean, I could run every day and nothing would change. It's crazy. I wish I did run every day and I didn't drop any pounds until I started changing my diet. But
Hmm.
so what's something that us over 40, or at any age really, but a woman over 40 could do to really see a change physically and stay healthy?
Well, I think first of all, you do have to find movement
Uh-huh.
that you enjoy,
Right.
and you don't have to enjoy it in its entirety every single time. Maybe you enjoy running most of the time, but at some point during the 5 miles that you're running, you're like, I really don't like this. Well, that's okay. I mean, for most of, so you're finding movement that for the most part, the majority of the time you're enjoying, because that's going to help keep you consistent. That's number one. Number two, you have options for your movement. So especially here in Indiana, we get some weather that's not so great. And if you
Right.
are depending that on only going to the gym and that's your only option, there are going to be days where you can't because it's
Right.
snowy. There are going to be days where you have sick kids and you don't want to go there. There are going to be days when it's icy or school's out or whatever. You can't, so you need to have options in your life, because
Okay.
that's going to provide you some cross training as well.
Mhm.
So you got to
Mhm.
find movement that you like. You got to find some options in your life. You have to make a decision that you're going to move most days of the week. I move with intention probably every day of the week,
Mhm.
at least 6 of the 7, but a lot of times 7. And when I
Mhm.
say move with intention, right away, the person I'm speaking to, their mind generally goes, "Oh my gosh, like you run 10 miles every day." No, I did not say that. I said I move with intention every day of the week, which
Right.
on Sunday, my movement with intention was a 4-mile walk with my dogs.
Right.
Totally fine.
Right.
But I move my body every day.
Mhm.
That's just that, without question, especially as you get older, you have to. You need to find some workouts that will be high intensity but lower impact, because your
Right.
body just doesn't maybe like to jump around anymore. But you can
Right.
find workouts that are high intensity but low impact. You will get an amazing workout. You have to dial in your nutrition, and you can't fight it. You can't go, well, I used to be able to eat pie. Well, so did I. Well, we can't do that anymore. So, okay, we can either spend time fighting that, or we can spend time figuring out healthier options for that,
Right. Right.
And
Right.
I do think that in our 40s, sometimes just if there are hormonal changes, of course, we'll develop some food sensitivities that maybe we've never had before. And we need to
Mhm.
pay attention to that. All of a
Mhm.
sudden, does dairy make us feel weird? Let's get rid of
Yeah.
that. Does gluten make us feel weird? Don't fight it. Don't fight it and go, well, I'm going to eat this cheese, but it's going to make me feel like crap. That's such a waste of time. We have such a short time on this planet. Why would we want to
Yeah.
spend any of it not feeling our best and being able to give our best and share our best?
Right.
So
Right.
pay attention to the food that you eat that maybe doesn't make you feel very good, and you're going to have to make some changes and
Mhm.
really dial it in. And that doesn't mean you can't ever have sugar ever again. You just have to find the times that
Right.
that it's a treat,
Right.
for you.
Right.
I think community is vital for women in their
Right.
40s, because
Yeah.
children get older and children leave the home, and women most of the time are the primary caregivers in the majority of households, and they're the ones whose lives change. I told my husband our youngest child left for college this August, and my husband being a college football coach, I'm like, your life doesn't change at all. My life changes very much so. And so I
Yeah.
think for women, community is so, so, so important. Keeping active mentally and physically. It's a beautiful time to take a class that maybe you never had time to take before, to get involved in an organization, a charity, an art, something that maybe even your children were involved in, but now they've outgrown, but you want to give back in some way. So there's just really cool ways now, as your children get older and you're in your 40s, to get involved in the community that you might not have had time to do before. And that keeps you busy and fulfilled and keeps your own bucket full. And I think that helps us stay really healthy too, mentally and physically.
Yeah, that's good. Community is very important.
Yes.
And just having friends and people that you can, because I know when I lack that, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I feel it affects me tremendously.
For sure.
It really does. So,
and you want to have
looking for somebody, and
you want to have friends that you got some commonalities with.
Right.
You know, if you're hanging around a lot of people who all they want to do is bake cakes and eat desserts and stuff, well then yes, everyone's going to kind of feel junky. So you got to find some people that, instead of a dessert date, we go for a walk outside, and take advantage of your weather or your local, or you go to the museum, or find some. We always talk about staycations. I hear that a lot. And I bet there's a lot in everyone's city that they haven't done, and make some dates with friends to explore some of your cities that that you may not have done. But anything where you can get in community with people that have like-minded morals and goals and dreams and values, and just keep that tight. I think that's so crucial for women in their 40s.
Yeah, it is. It absolutely is. So I haven't been the best nutritionally over the past however many years. But let me ask you a question. So how would somebody like me, I mean, I've been in and out. It just depends on, honestly, what's going on in the season. And I hate to admit that. But so what is some good advice for someone who might have bad habits, eating habits? How can they switch? Because I know it's a big jump to be like, oh, I eat all this bad stuff. We eat out a lot and do this, and to jump to all of a sudden saying, well, I'm going to eat salads and try this low carb stuff, and, or eat more vegetable. Like, what's a good way to transition from really poor eating habits to good eating habits? And maybe you can piggyback that with helping your children to also transition in that way, because I know, a lot of people bring up their kids and they're eating McDonald's and they're like, oh my gosh, this is bad. And they want to change it, so, so what are some ways to transition from that to actually eating stuff that's great for your body and to fuel your body effectively?
Well, first of all, you have to change your mindset, because I'm going to say this with love. But even as you're talking about that, you can feel that the salads and the vegetables are like on the negative side.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
So I'm confused why a salad would be bad, why that would be negative. It's number one, you got to change your mindset. And I truly believe that most people do not know how good they can feel right now. They really don't, because they've been putting such processed stuff in their bodies for so long. They don't even know how much better they can feel. So you have to change your mindset and stop looking at salads and veggies as bad. I guess I got to eat a salad again. Like, oh, awesome. That's awesome for you that you get to eat a salad again. And, for me, not to be maudlin, but I just think it only takes one or two family members or one or two close friends with a health scare to go, you know what? I don't have much time here. I better be taking care of myself so I can prolong whatever I have and look and really live my healthiest life to feel my best. You want to have energy for your children. You want to have energy for your grandchildren. You want to have energy for that community that we talked about. And eating processed food is not going to help. All that being said, even as you were talking, I can hear the primary mindset, which is, well, I have to change everything. I have to change everything. And that usually will happen on January 1st. I'm going to change everything. And that is going to set anyone up for failure. If you go into this, like, I have to change everything. I always tell people, especially women, let's start small. Let's start small. Let's start with a habit, a day, and let's start building on that. So maybe the first habit we start with is we are going to drink our body weight divided in half. So let's say you weighed 140 pounds. We're drinking 70 ounces of water a day, non-negotiable.
Okay.
Whatever else. And that is habit one. And we do habit one for a week, 10 days, 2 weeks. So it's just like, all right, I got habit one down. I'm good with habit one. We're just drinking more water. And the next habit might be, I'm going to get an extra hour of sleep. I'm going to bed an hour earlier. I'm not playing around, not acting like I'm going to, and then not. I'm not watching TV. No, I'm going to go to bed. And then that's habit two. And then maybe the next habit is, okay, I'm going to swap out my chips now for carrots and hummus. And that's going to be habit three. And so we just keep stacking these habits, because as you keep stacking those habits, you're going to go, you know what? Wow, it's a beautiful evening. Let's go take a walk.
Yeah.
Now we've added a little bit of movement. And now the next day we're drinking our water. We're getting an extra night's sleep. We're eating our carrots. We've taken a walk. Look what we've done in a month without feeling like we've had to overhaul our entire life. We just had 4 new habits. And okay, now we start adding, all right, now I'm going to swap out one meal a day that will be entirely plant-based. I'm going to get rid of meat. Okay, cool. Now I'm doing that. Okay, now I'm going to, and as it continues, we just can, because let's face it, we all know what we should eat and shouldn't eat. That's not even, we're all smart. We are smart, grown-up human beings with a plethora of information at our fingertips.
Yes.
And we all know McDonald's is bad. And I'm telling you, as someone who used to really enjoy my McDonald's Diet Coke a lot. I mean, there is no Diet Coke like McDonald's, but that hasn't happened for probably, 15 years. Because once you know better, you have to do better, period. Once you know better, you have to do better. And most of us know what we need to eat. We're acting like it's so hard, and we're acting like eating a salad is a punishment, and we're acting like, well, we're just so busy. No, we're not. We're just choosing the chips instead of the carrots. Those are equally right there. They're equally very easy to grab. We've made that decision. So we know what to eat. We know what to do, but we have to understand that we don't have to overhaul our entire life at one time. It really will work better and be more sustainable, because we're talking about a lifestyle here. We're not talking about a diet or a fad or a short period of time. We are talking about a lifestyle. So we want to habit stack those small habits on top of the other until we start to really feel some changes, and maybe we're ready for a bigger change, and we just keep going. And all of a sudden you look up 6 months later and you're like, holy cow, I've lost 10 pounds. And I feel great.
Right.
Yeah, I feel great. And it hasn't been this big thing. And we're just aware, and we're kind of going through life with intentional awareness of our decisions and the impact that those decisions have both on ourselves and also on our families. And knowing that the more we model, the more our kids will do too. I don't have to tell my girls to work out.
Right.
They just do it.
Yeah.
Because that's what they've seen. When my oldest daughter called me last night, she was on her way back from cycling class, because that's what she does. Because that's what we do. And when they see it, that's far more powerful than telling your family to do something and you doing something else. They got to see you in action doing it and modeling it. Right. And you will increase the chances of them taking that behavior and integrate it into themselves too.
Right. And of course, as the mom and or the dad or whoever's cooking at home, to obviously start integrating a lot more of the healthy, even slowly into more vegetables, one meal, more, grilled chicken instead of fried, or, whatever it might be.
Yep.
Right. That, stuff like that. So
little small habits.
Yeah. Small changes. Cause I know, and you said, oh, you've not had a Diet Coke from McDonald's in 15 years. What about that? Like, is it something
so bad? Take that out.
Yeah.
No bones about it. Take that out.
Well, what if somebody does want, like, oh, I've been doing great and, done, but great for all this time. What about, like, oh, I'd like a cookie or a piece of cake? I mean, is that something you should say, no, or do you just eat it?
So have it. Have your cookie or cake. On my birthday next week, I will have a lovely piece of pumpkin pie with whipped cream on top of it.
Sounds
one time a year. That is when I will have that. I will enjoy every single bite of it. I will not feel one bit of guilt over it. I'm also not eating that pumpkin pie every single day. Right. I'm having it. So it's very intentional about when I'm eating that, because I know that sugar in that pumpkin pie, while it is so good, it will definitely affect how I feel the next day, probably for the next
Uh-huh.
couple days. And I just
Mm-hmm.
don't really want to feel that way. I like
Right.
feeling good and I like to have energy but I will enjoy that piece of pumpkin pie with intentional awareness of how it'll make me
Right.
feel the next day. And I'm going to be okay with that, but I'm not going to eat that pumpkin pie every night. So when you are, I always think about it during the holidays, especially. So
Yeah.
my husband's Aunt Sue's makes this incredible chocolate eclair cake. She only makes it at Christmas. So if I'm going to choose a dessert at the holidays, am I going to choose something that I could get any day of the year? Or am I
Right.
going to choose a piece of this chocolate eclair cake made by Aunt Sue's with a recipe handed down to the family that I can only get one time a year? That's what I'm going to choose. And I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
love every bite of it because it's special and it's made by her. And I'm not going to feel guilty about it whatsoever. But if I'm just choosing Christmas cookies and junk that I could get anytime, what's the point? What's
Right.
the point? So when you choose to have those treats, do it with intentional awareness and choose something that's
Mm-hmm.
special and choose something knowing that you might not feel really great the next day, but it's okay. That's life. That's life. It's all good.
Right. But you can still enjoy it. Right. Exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. That's good. So one more question, and then we'll talk about how everybody can connect with you. So keto is a big thing nowadays. And then I've also been hearing a lot about intermittent fasting. So what are your thoughts on those types of programs?
My thoughts are twofold. Number one, our entire goal with health and fitness is to create a healthy, fit lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
That lifestyle will evolve as your life evolves. And again, like we talked about earlier, what works for you in your 20s won't work for you in your 30s, won't work for you in
Mm-hmm.
your 40s, will be different than what you can do in your 50s, 60s, et cetera, et cetera. So the goal is a healthy lifestyle that is sustainable. So going into whatever you're doing, health and fitness wise, with the concept that I want this to be my lifestyle, immediately takes away anything that's a fad.
Okay.
Secondly, I believe your body is your best experiment. So if you think a certain kind of way of eating might benefit you, try it. See
Mm-hmm.
how you feel. See what it does. Can you sustain it long term? Not 10 days to lose a bunch of weight. That's not a
Right.
healthy lifestyle.
No.
That is a,
Right. No.
but can you sustain this, whatever it is that you might be trying long term? Then maybe that's the eating way that works for you. And you should do that. If you can't, then it probably isn't. But your body is your best experiment. It will tell you what's working and what's not. So rather than listening to, oh, my friend is doing this or my neighbor's doing this, why don't you just try it and see if it works for you and give
Mm-hmm.
yourself 14, 21, 30 days and go, how do I feel? I feel really good. All right, cool. I'm gonna continue down this path. Oh, how do
Mm-hmm.
I feel? Oh, I don't really feel good. And when I go out with my friends, I can't do this. Okay, then that's not the eating style for you.
Right.
Find
Right.
something else. So you have to find something that's sustainable for a lifetime with seasonal evolution as
Right.
your life changes. And you have to know that your body's your best experiment
Right.
and that you may change through the years. As I mentioned earlier, you might find that food sensitivities develop as you get older because your
Mm-hmm.
hormones change. So you just are aware of that and you may have to make some changes. And that's okay. That's just your body telling you, yep, that doesn't work for us anymore. So we're going to need to make some changes. But you do have to be willing to explore and not do something just because your friend is doing it or your
Right.
neighbor is
Right.
doing it or your grandma's doing it. Give everything a chance. If someone says, like I talked about my pre-workout, if someone says I do this pre-workout every day, let me give it a try. Who knows? Maybe it becomes the habit trigger for me and I
Mm-hmm.
like it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, my
Mm-hmm.
body's my best experiment. Let me try it. If someone says I love intermittent fasting, like, well, maybe I'll try. Okay, let me try it. Let me see how I feel. And that will be the key. Your body will tell you, but you have to be
Mm-hmm.
willing to explore. You have to be willing to experiment, and you have to get in tune with how you feel. And then once you know better, you do better and you
Right.
act accordingly and you just continue to evolve and grow. That's the beautiful thing about being a living, breathing human being is that we can just evolve and grow all the way till the end.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. And that's so important in life is continuing to grow in every area, and not
Yep.
staying down. Like if you get down or something, this doesn't work for you, not to be like, oh, I can't do anything now. Like I know people take it to the extreme. You just get back up and keep on your
Yes.
path and keep on
Yep.
walking. So
Yep.
keep on going for it. So, well, I appreciate you coming on. So it's been great having you with all your wisdom with physical exercise and nutrition and all that. I really appreciate it.
Thank
So
you.
how can we connect with you? Do you have like any materials or websites, or
Mhm.
if anybody has any questions for you, is there a place that they can reach out, or even maybe work with you if they because I know having a coach is huge to actually
Huge.
reaching your goals.
Yes, huge. You can find me on my website, julievoris.com. You
Okay, and that'll
can
be in the
message.
show notes.
Yep, you can message me through there. I'm also on Instagram. So
Okay.
I'm really primarily on Instagram far more than Facebook. I find
Mhm.
it's just a fun platform for me because I can be
Uh-huh.
live. And that's again my first and last name. So just Instagram, Julie Voris. And I'm over there because I do a lot of live stuff over there. And it's just a fun place for me to get to know people. And I think for people to get
Okay.
to know me.
Great. Well, I'll put that in the show notes and
Yay.
have everybody connect with you. So it's been a
Thank you very
pleasure.
much. Yes,
Been
it's
a
been an
pleasure
honor. Thank
chatting.
you.
So yeah, let me know if we can do anything else for you. And
Yes.
yeah, I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
All right. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye.